On behalf of Indira Gandhi National Open University, myself, Professor Subhashish Maji from School of Engineering and Technology, presenting today's topic, that is aspects of management. This topic is from the course ACPDM, Advanced Certificate in Power Distribution Management. The course code is BEE003 and the title of the course is Management of Power Distribution. Today I am discussing the first unit, that is aspects of management, for the block 1. Title is Principles of Management. You might be working as a manager in an organization or aspiring to be a manager in an organizations or utilities. Now, what will be the role of the manager? That is very important thing we must know, because a manager has to be a good leader. He has to know about the work. He has to know about the strength and weaknesses of the subordinates, those who are working under him. He has to know about himself, and he has to be a good listener, and he should be approachable to all the workers. At the same time, he should have a clear mission and vision. Now, say for example, you are working in a thermal power plant. You know very well that there are 4 important components of a thermal power plant. One is boiler, which is producing steam by burning of coal in the boiler, and that high pressure, high temperature steam is passing through the turbine. The turbine shaft rotates. The shaft of the turbine is coupled with the shaft of the turbine is coupled with generator shaft. In turn, the generator is producing electricity. After that, the low pressure, low temperature steam is passing through the condenser, and after that, the water which goes from the condenser to the pump, and the pump is pumping the water to the boiler. It completes the cycle. Now here you see that 4 components: boiler, turbine, generator, condenser and pump. These are known as the subsystems of the total system of the thermal power plant. So let us have ideas about the system and subsystems. And today we will discuss about the 4 elements of management, that is planning, controlling, organizing and leading. After that, we will discuss about the inventory control, the total quality of management and the project management, and we will see the customer's expectations also. The system concept in management. A system is defined as a sum total of individual but interrelated parts which are put together according to a specific scheme or plan to achieve the pre-stated objectives. Here we have discussed about the thermal power plant, where one of the subsystem is boiler. The output of the boiler, that means high pressure, high temperature steam is entering into the turbine. So these are subsystems are interrelated. That means output of any subsystems may be input of the next subsystems, and all the subsystems combined in a specific manner to achieve the pre-stated goal or objectives is known as the system. Now, a system has several components like a number of parts or subsystems which, when put together in a specific manner, form a whole system. Boundaries within which it exists, a specific goals expressed in terms of an output which is achieved by receiving an input and processing it to form the output, and close interrelationship and interdependence amongst various subsystems. Interrelationship of subsystems, that we have already explained about the boiler and turbine. The 2 subsystems are connected with each other. The output of the boiler, that is high pressure, high temperature steam, is entering into the next subsystem, that is the turbine. So interrelationship of subsystems means flows such as of information, funds, materials, etc. the most important of the management subsystems is the flow of information. Structure within which they relate to each other. The structure may be physical, geographical, or organizational. Interrelationship of subsystems. Procedure by which the subsystems relate to each other. By procedure, we mean those planned activities which influence the performance of the entire system. In the context of an organization, this refers to planning and feedback and the control process mechanisms which ensure that the system is moving towards its desired objectives. Now, this is the small diagram of a closed system. See, there is a process. For conducting this process, we have to have input. So, input is there and for the process, and when the process occurs, it gives an output. And there is a feedback mechanism systems. If there is a deviation of the product from the stated objectives, then it gives feedback to the control system. In turn, corrective action is taken with regard to the input. After taking necessary steps with regard to the input, then it is fed into the process and we get desired output. So this is a closed system. Why we are talking about this is a closed system? Because there is no interactions between the system and environment. Now let us see how the environment interacts with the system. We call it an open system. Now this is a very good diagram for explaining about the open systems. So an open system is one which interacts with the environment in which it exists. Now in this case also there is a process, there is an input, there is an output, there is a control mechanism, but in this case there is an environment and there is an interaction between environment and the process or the whole system, and we will see that how the environment interacts with the system. Now when you talk about the inputs may be in terms of man, machines, materials, technology, money, and activities or operations is the term for process, and output is in terms of goods, in terms of sales or profit for an organization. And control mechanisms is here the feedback is coming to the control mechanisms, and if there is deviation of the final product which is coming out as an input is not meeting our goals, then corrective actions have to be taken, and in these corrective actions has to be put in the input so that we can get the desired output as per our desired goal, as per our stated objectives. Now you see how the environment interacts with the system in the next diagram. Here you see that there is a system and we call it a firm which it is having a lot of divisions or departments like marketing department, marketing divisions, R&D, technology, purchase sections, production, subsystems, and human resource management and finance. And these are the objectives and structure of the system. Now you see these systems are within the boundaries, and outside the boundaries that is environment, which is composed of several subsystems like legal, social, technological, economic, cultural, and political. Now you see how the environment, that is legal or political or social interactions, will be there in the system. Suppose in the system or in an organization or in a company, some lazy and unproductive labor is there, and if management thinks that he is unproductive as well as non-performing person, so let him discharge from these organizations. So when they take these steps, there may be the instability, or there may be lot of hue and cry in the organizations. There may be that workers strike, and if any divisions create some strike for that division, the other subsystems, I mean if there is any union is there, they can also join within that strike. Even for the political parties or some NGOs or who are environmentalists or social groups, they will also join with that strike, and there will be total destabilizations for the whole system or organization. So there is interactions between the environment as well as the systems. So this is an open system. And see, when you talk about the management process, there are 4 important elements are there: planning, controlling, organizing, leading. So the manager has to plan properly. In fact, while planning, there may be a lot of options, and those lot of options may come through the discussions of the management group with the subordinates. And a good manager has to be a good listener. He will listen all the options for this at the time of planning process. After that, the good manager will utilize his own views and ideas and find out the best solution for the best production process, so that if that plan is implemented, then productivity will be excellent. Now, there is a control process. So the controlling is meant for controlling the whole process so that we can get the desired goal. We will discuss this in a broader way. Next one is organizing. Organizing means that resources, that how to grouping the people. Here we have to group the people in such a way that right person should be a right job. So we say that if there is a square peg, that needs to be a square hole. If the peg is round shaped, then that needs a round hole. So for square pegs should be fitted with square holes, and the round peg should be fitted with round holes. So when we make the staffing or grouping of people, we must see that right person should be at the right job. Now leading, the leading is very important. That means the leadership quality. Now for any organizations, if the planning is there, if controlling is there, and organizing is there, but sometimes the people are not motivated. It is the responsibility of the manager who is having good leadership quality, motivate the workers, those who are working in that organization, so that we can get the final product or the desired goal or the stated objectives as per our expectations or as per our planning. Now, planning is the most basic and pervasive process in management. Planning is needed for committing and allocating the organization's resources towards achieving its object. So it's having 3 important points: making choices, that I have already discussed, that there may be several choices for a particular job, but we have to decide that which choice is the best for the organizations for attaining or for getting its final product or services as per our desire or as per the expectation of the customers. Then committing resources. So a manager, if he is a marketing manager, he may put more persons so that he can achieve as per the expectations for marketing. A time horizon for anything, that the time limit is very, very important. That any process, managing process, has to be smart. Smart means SMART. It has to be specific. A for achievable. R means result oriented, and T is the time limit. So these are very important. That SMART, S is specific, M is measurable, A for achievable, R is result oriented, and T is the time frame. These are all very important for successful managerial aspects. Now controlling provides a means of checking the process of the plans and correcting any deviations that may occur along the way. 3 basic steps involved in designing a control process. First one is establishment of standards, measurement of performance, and correcting deviations. So first of all, we have to establish the standards, that what should be the specifications of the final product, or what we are getting, the final products or services. So we have to establish the standards. Now after creating the standards, next one is measurement of performance. So when the product is already done, we have to see that the final product should be as per our standards. That may be the number of units sold in the market for a sales department, or it may be the number of units produced by a machine, and all this. That means the output we are getting, whether we are getting as per our stated standards or not. But if there is any deviation, what we have to do, that comes under correcting deviations. If there is any deviations, if the product is not as per the performance of the standards, then definitely we have to take the corrective measure so that we can get the product or services as per our expectations or the expectations of the customers. Now, establishment of standards. The first step of establishment of standards is to have clear plans, which in turn become the standards for reference and control. The sales forecast plan, which sets sales target, become the standard against which actual sale is measured. But one very important thing is that planning and controlling go hand to hand. Without planning, controlling cannot be done, or without controlling, planning is meaningless. Now, measurement of performance. Having set standards, it is necessary to devise a system for measuring the performance of individuals, departments, or the company against these standards. Correcting deviations, we have already discussed that the ultimate objective of the control process is to pinpoint the occurrences outside the permissible range of action and allow the management to take corrective actions. Organizing. So organizing refers to the formal grouping of people and activities to facilitate achievement of the organizational stated objectives. That means the right person should be right job. So if you make the team for the maintenance group, and if somebody is not good for the maintenance job, then we have to provide the training facilities for those persons who are not at par of the skills needed for that particular job, and that training may be given on the job or off the job training, so that the person will be properly trained for that particular job. Now, structure refers to the specific manner in which people are grouped. Right person should be the right job. Centralization refers to the point or level where all decision-making authorities is concentrated, and we'll talk about centralization and decentralizations in detail, because if that's for the centralizations method, the power is concentrated only at the high level, but to run the organizations in a better way, we have to decentralizations for the system. Now, closely related to the concept of centralization are the concept of levels of management and span of controls. Organizing. At each level of management, there is a reporting relationship between the manager and his subordinates. Here, one very important thing is this: the manager has to be approachable, and if anything is wrong, the subordinates have to have immediate the conversation or communications with the manager, who is readily accessible, so that if any corrective measure is to be taken, that can be carried out immediately. So this is very important, that the flow of information nowadays, due to the ICT, that is information and communication technologies, we can get the informations immediately. The process of staffing starts with the identification of the jobs to be done and the necessary qualifications, skills and experience required for doing it. Motivation, motivating and leading, these are very important. Suppose planning is in order, organizations in order, and controlling is also in order, but sometimes things are not moving as per our expectations, and that is due to the lack of motivation and leadership quality of the manager. So manager has to lead the team from the front, and he should feel for the workers, those who are working under him, and he should give some facilities which are required from time to time by the workers, and workers should also feel that they are working in a team and which is a strong family. As a team should be considered as a family. Motivation is the desire or feelings within an individual which prompts her or him to act. Every individual has needs, desires and drive which are collectively referred to as motives and channelize the behavior and action towards the achievement of stated objectives. The manager's role is to influence each individual's behavior and action towards achievement of common organizational objectives. Money is the most commonly used motivating factor in the form of salary, bonus, incentives, commissions and rewards. Salary or wage is of course the primary motivation, but the poorer the economic background of an individual, the greater the motivational value of money. However, once a basic salary or wage is assured to motivate people to work a little extra and achieve higher revenue generation or upscale sale figures, incentives and commissions come in handy. Most sales organizations use salary plus incentives to good effect. Here one thing is very important, that in an organization, if the workers are getting very good salary and which is fair enough for running their day-to-day expenditures with the families and relatives, so they will be happy. Once they are happy, then definitely they will be highly motivated for doing the work for the organizations, for achieving the final products or services as per our expectations. However, once a basic salary or wage is assured to motivate people to work a little extra and achieve higher revenue generations or upscale sell figure, incentives and commissions come in handy. Suppose in an organization people are already getting very good salary. So if you ask them that you will get some extra money for doing some extra work, then definitely they will not be motivated, because they are already getting a good salary. So in that case, what we have to do? The manager has to find out some other ways to motivate the people, some kinds of appreciation, some kind of appreciations and all. क्या हो गया? See, why it is coming? अच्छा, हाँ ठीक. How then the manager has to motivate by some other ways, like to appreciate the persons in some year-ending occasions, or sometimes in newsletter. Just say we can say that this for the best performance in that organization. So definitely in that way you will find the people will be motivated. Now see, physical environment. It is also very important that suppose in the office, those who are working in the account sections in office, and the office is very fine, air conditioning environment is there and very neat and clean. Definitely people who are working in that pleasant environment will be highly motivated to perform their work. Sometimes they will feel to do extra work because the environment is where the environment of the office where they are working is extremely good. The physical environment in which a person works also has tremendous motivational force. A pleasant, noise-free, well-lit room with comfortable temperature and proper facilities is more conducive to work. Now let us come to the work values. This is a very important thing, First of all, let us define what is value. Value may be defined as a specific mode of conduct or end state of existence that is personally or socially preferable to an opposite or converse mode of conduct or end state of existence. Values operate at three levels: individual, socio-cultural and organizational. Values and attitudes, these are also very important for for which the workers should have, or it should be within the within their inherent quality of a person's. And values are expressed in terms of attitude, which in turn provide directions to one's responses. For example, a professor who believes strongly in work ethics will tend to exhibit certain attitudes towards students and methods of studies as a means of reflecting this value. Work ethics. Ethical behavior includes good, right, just, honorable and praiseworthy behavior. Work ethics encompasses efficiency, productivity, tolerances and encompasses. Now, corporate governance and business ethics, these are also very important. We must know what it is. Corporate governance is the need for transparency, social accountability, social responsibility. Effective corporate governance requires a clear understanding of the respective roles of the board and of senior management and their relationship with others in the corporate structure. So, you see, corporate governance, good citizenship with communities, candor, fairness with stockholders or employees, and it has to have a good interactions with the government in terms of commitment to compliances. Supply chain management. Supply chain management, short form we call it SCM, is the process of managing operations control, resource and delivery acquisitions and purchasing, and thus improving overall efficiency and effectiveness. Process of managing SCM: operations management, purchasing management, inventory control, just-in-time management. So operations management, that means the process has to be such that the final output should be as per our expectations or as per our desired goals. Purchasing management, that means we have to purchase the things when it is needed. Inventory management means, inventory means the stock or goods of items. So different items are there in a, are kept in an organization as a stock, and here you see that inventories are different for different organizations. Say for example, in a hospital, in the stock or in the inventory there may be gloves or aprons or surgical small instruments or surgical tools. Even in the COVID-19, you will find that they have to have that is some very, very important equipment for the treatment of the patient, like ventilators and so on. But for mechanical that industries or manufacturing industries, they will keep inventories like the nut and bolts or washers or grease or oils or balls and bearings or some equipments also. Those are needed to running the manufacturing industries. Just-in-time management, it is a very new and important concept, management concept, that since the name is given just-in-time, that means the things will be available just in time as per the requirement. In Japan, in automobile industries, this technique is utilized, and you know that around for any organization, people say that 30% of the asset is related for maintaining the inventory, because inventory is the stock of goods, and if you keep the more inventory, the more items as an inventory, then definitely a lot of money will be involved for keeping that inventory. So just in time means the suppliers will supply the items when it is required for that organizations. It is very important concept to reduce the cost of the products or to cut down the cost which are there for keeping the inventories. Now the TQM, Total Quality Management. This is a new concept and it is very important for an organization. TQM signifies strategic commitment by the top management to change its entire approach to business and to make a quality guiding factor in everything that the organization does. Previously, for quality control, generally after when the production is over, then it goes to the inspection division. After that, there is a quality check for the final product. If it is not as per the expectations or it is not conformance with the specification, generally they reject the products. But for rejecting the whole lot will definitely detrimental for the growth of the organizations or a lot of money will be wasted. Now the concept of total quality management means quality has to be maintained in each and everything. There is an input, there is a process, there is an output. So we have to have quality check for the input materials. The input materials are man, machines, materials, money and technology. So we have, if there is anything which is there, which is not as per the quality, we have to check the quality at that stage. Then materials. The materials which we are getting from the vendors or suppliers, before utilizing that material for the process, we must check the quality of the materials. And technology, there are a lot of technologies are coming out and the technology which you are using today, tomorrow it may be obsolete. You see the mobile phones which you are using today, after 2 years it becomes obsolete, and the methods for making the process also changing with the time. So quality has to be maintained, and the management, it says that quality cannot be inspected, it has to be imbued within the system. So we have to imbue the quality check at each and every point, where the process is going on. And there is a Six Sigma concept for TQM, and the Six Sigma quality, it says that the quality should be such that only maximum number of defects will be 3 for a 1 million products. That means for 10 lakh productions for any product, only maximum defects is allowed only on 3. That is the Six Sigma quality management. But even if we make 1 million products, there may be a 3 defective. So we say that there is always improvement for quality check. Now see, there are 8 important dimensions of quality: performance, features, reliability, conformance, durability, serviceability, aesthetics, perceived quality. And for all, performance means a product primary operating characteristics, for example automobile acceleration. Features, supplement to the product's basic function characteristics like the power windows of a car. These are the extra things which we are getting with the existing one. Reliability, the product or the probability of not malfunctioning during a specified period. Conformance, the degree to which the product's design and operating characteristics meet the established standards. Durability, that means a measure of product life. Serviceability, the speed and ease of repair. Aesthetics, it's also very important that how a product looks, feels and smells. And perceived quality as seen by the customer. Here once we discussed about the project management, so the project management triangles, there are 3 important aspects are there at the 3 vertices: the cost, time and scope, and center is quality. That means we have to maintain the quality of the project, keeping in view of the cost and time and scope of NB6. So, but when you think when you do a project, so project definition means defining the goals, objectives and critical success factors of the project. Project initiation means everything that is needed to set up the project before work can start. And project control, that means we have to control the project so that we can get the desired output at a stipulated time with our estimated cost. And project closure means disbanding of all the elements that were required to run the project. Now, this is a dimensions of the project management here. The four important elements are there at the four corners of a rectangle or a square. Those are time, scope, quality and cost. But here more we are concentrating on the customer expectations, and the customer expectations for the project for which we are doing, we have to maintain the time limit, that within the stipulated time the project has completed. Cost, there is no enhanced cost for completing the project. The scope and of course the quality is the vital point. Now, performance management is a way of managing people that encourages and helps them to use their capabilities optimally for achievement of the company's business strategies and objectives. Now, these are the five key components for the performance management: planning, monitoring, developing, rating and rewarding. So, next one is, so we have discussed about the aspects of management. We started with the system and subsystems, then we have discussed about the four important aspects of management. So, let us summarize what we have discussed for this today's lecture. We started with the management system concept. We discussed about the system and its subsystems. We have discussed about the closed system. We have discussed about the open system. In a closed system, there is a input for a process, there is output, there is a feedback. If there is any deviations of the output with our stated objectives or the desire, then we have to take the corrective measure that is taken by the control, and we will change the input so that in the process we can get the final output as per our specifications, or there has to be conformance and the customer should be happy. And we discussed about the four important things, that is planning, controlling, organizing, motivating and leading. And planning and controlling goes hand to hand. Without planning, controlling is meaningless, and without controlling, planning is also meaningless. And organizing means grouping of people in a scientific manner so that we can get the output as per our expectations, or we can fulfill the mission and vision for the organizations, and for which we have to have a good leadership for the manager so that the people will be motivated and they should feel for the work, and they should think that it is our work, it is our organizations, and that feeling has to be there so that everybody will be happy and the products will be as per our expectations. And values and work ethics, this plays a vital role. And supply chain management is also very important, and TQM, the total quality of management, that quality should be inherent within the system. We already discussed that quality cannot be inspected, it has to be inbuilt within the system. And project management discussed, and performance management. And here we see that if you take any project like our tube rail, that is which is available at Delhi and that is running very well, and that because of they are maintaining the quality in all aspects for constructing the tube rails, and the quality of the trains, bogies, everything, and the quality of running the whole system, so that it should be the customers has to be get the full satisfaction for using the this tube rails, and because the quality is maintained, the TQM is maintained for the whole project. And in our next class we will discuss about the topic customers relationship management in utility. This is a very vital point that customers has to be satisfied, and suppose if we are discussing about the power systems, who are the customers? The common people are the customers for using the electricity, but there are big customers also. They are like industries, they are also taking electricity from the electricity utility. And what the customer needs? Customer needs that round the clock power supply has to be there. That power supply has to be there into 24/7 all the time. But there may be a difficulty there because of the shutdown. And what is the concept of relationship management? That means even if there is any problem or disruptions of the power supply, that information has to be given to the customers so that they should be prepared for not having the electricity during that short period. But in that way, what are the important things are there in the customers relationship management? We will discuss those customer in our next class, that is on customers relationship management unit 2. So thank you very much, and if you are having any questions, anything, my emails are there, and thank you very much.